Turning to our world lead now, President Trump welcoming Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe at the White House today. The two leaders are on their way to Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort for a series of meetings and some golf diplomacy this weekend. Accompanying the president to Florida will be First Lady Melania Trump, who is flying on Air Force One for the first time. CNN senior White House correspondent Jim Acosta joins me now live from the White House. Jim, Japan, obviously a critical U.S. ally. What was the primary focus of the president and the prime minister's conversation today?
Yeah, Jake, the president and the prime minister talked trade and security today, with North Korea and China being a big part of the conversation. Following their news conference, the two leaders issued a statement saying both the U.S. and Japan are committed to protecting Japanese control of some contested islands in the East China Sea and remain opposed to China's militarization of man-made islands in the South China Sea. As for North Korea, there was also a determination expressed by the president and the prime minister to confront the threat posed by North Korea's nuclear program. Here's what was said during the press conference earlier today.
We will work together to promote our shared interests, of which we have many, in the region, including freedom from navigation and of navigation, and defending against the North Korean missile and nuclear threat. On the economy, we will seek a trading relationship that is free, fair, and reciprocal, benefiting both of our countries.
Now, both leaders are on their way to Florida right now for a weekend at the president's ritzy resort at Mar-a-Lago. The White House made a point of saying that the prime minister will be staying at Mar-a-Lago on the house, you might say, and that the rest of the Japanese delegation is staying at nearby hotels. Jake, that's to make sure no foreign money is going to the president's businesses, which some government watchdogs say could be in violation of the Constitution.
And Jim, Prime Minister Abe was asked today whether the decision by President Trump to withdraw from the trade deal known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership was a smart decision. What did he say?
Yeah, they were asked about TPP. The prime minister did not indicate any great disappointment with President Trump's decision to withdraw from the Trans-Pacific trade deal. That was notable. The prime minister said his country is basically fine with negotiating trade deals unilaterally, just as the president has in mind for his administration. Remember, he does not want these big trade deals brokered by several different countries all at the same time. So we should point out trade experts caution the absence of a trade deal in the Pacific could strengthen China's hand in Asia. But the prime minister had a good poker face today. He did not indicate any problems with that whatsoever.
He's really doing a lot, Prime Minister Abe, to cozy up to President Trump as much as possible. On the subject of China, which you just brought up, take a listen to President Trump just a few weeks ago talking about the One China policy. That's the policy that China demands, that the United States has honored for decades, which recognizes Taiwan not as an independent country, but as part of China. Here's what President Trump had to say a few days ago.
I fully understand the One China policy, but I don't know why we have to be bound by a One China policy unless we make a deal with China, having to do with other things, including trade.
Now, we're told, Jim, that last night he talked with Chinese President Xi, President Trump, and is honoring the One China policy. Is there some deal that the United States made with China that we don't know about?
That was fascinating, and the president, we should point out, you're right, he has tempered his rhetoric on China in recent days, at least if you look at that statement, and as you said, telling the Chinese leader Xi Jinping in that phone call that the Chinese government also confirmed that President Trump now supports this One China policy, making Taiwan part of China. That is something, as you know, Jake, that the White House has held out on as an open question for several weeks now. And the question, we should also point out, of Chinese currency manipulation came up today. The president vowed the U.S. and China will be on a level playing field, he called it, but he didn't say how the two countries will get there. So it sounds like, Jake, the president would like to wrap all of these issues together and deal with them as one large deal between the U.S. and China. It's not clear at all whether President Xi is going to go for that, but a very big development that the president is now acknowledging the One China policy. That is obviously going over very well in Beijing, Jake.
And also, President Trump told voters that he would declare China currency manipulator on day one. That didn't happen.
That didn't happen. That's
either.
Right.
Jim Acosta, thank you so much.